Hey everyone, it's me, Sarah, aka Snow the Lost Girl, aka White Lady of the Ring, formerly opera ballerina, because apparently, one name wasn't enough for me. So this is the first Q&A video that I've ever done. I think this is one of the first times I've ever recorded myself. So, I'm a little nervous. Think the last time was like right after I started dating my husband and he was in Korea for 2 months and I started sending him daily videos until I accidentally watched one and then that stopped pretty quick. Um, so please be patient with me, be gentle. Um, yeah, so Q&A. I guess I will start with the questions. Um, the first one I got was from Maggie, aka Charming Family. She said, "Who is your favorite Disney princess and why?" And I totally knew this question was going to come up, and I was dreading it because it's a question I don't really have an answer for. Um, Obviously, Snow White is my favorite princess in general. I mean, you can thank Jenny for that. But growing up, my favorite princess was Belle because I really liked to read and I didn't have a lot of friends. Everyone thought I was weird. And so I really related to her when I was little. Um, my husband says, and a lot of my friends say I'm just like Anna from Frozen. And, well, Kim is probably going to watch this. And I remember I was watching Frozen with her and her husband. And it was their first time watching it. And I think like 20 minutes into the movie, they just turned and looked at me when Anna did something silly. And I was just like, fine, fine, that's me. That's me. I get it. I get it. So I guess I'm most like Anna. But like recently, the princess that I really relate to the most is Rapunzel. Because I think um, a lot of growing up, I was similar to her. I'm realizing now, looking back on things and getting out into the real world and experiencing things is something I really relate to because I think I reacted to things a lot like Rapunzel did in Tangled. So there's my non-answer in which I gave you four answers when it should have just been one because it's not like there are many options. The next questions come from Justine or Icings on FFN. Um, First question is, what do you enjoy most about writing fanfic? And what do you enjoy most about writing your own original work? Um, my favorite thing about writing fanfic is that I sort of have a built-in audience. And I know that sounds really awful because it's not that I mean, I enjoy attention I get from writing, but it's not like that's the whole reason. I like getting a lot of feedback because it helps me realize what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing so well, on what people actually enjoy seeing, and it helps me really grow as a writer. Whereas that's a lot harder to find when you're writing original work, and the only people you can really convince to read it are people who are probably going to tell you they like it anyways. Like your family and your close friends. So um, that's my favorite thing about writing fanfic. My favorite thing about writing my original work is just that I get a lot of freedom with the characters. I don't get anyone saying, well, that character would never actually do that, or anything like that. I get to play around with them a lot more, and I feel a little less guilty doing horrible things to them, I think. And also the fact that if I can ever get off my butt and actually write something of substantial length, I could potentially get it published. So that's always a plus. And then Justine also asked, do you enjoy one more than the other? Oh, so fanfic or original writing. I definitely think I prefer fanfic just because it's got a lot more like instant gratification. I can write up a fic and I can post it all within a day if I really need to, and I get, instant feedback that day, whereas original writing takes a lot more planning and going through the whole process takes a lot longer, especially if I'm I'm trying to keep it not entirely out there on the internet for free if I want to eventually publish it as part of a larger work. So, um, yeah, so I like writing fanfic more. I think I get a little bit more enjoyment out of it. Obviously, I do it more. So there's that. And then she also asked, tell me your top 5 favorite Disney characters. So I'm going to do this no princesses because I just gave you 4 princesses. And so then I would just like add another character onto that. And that's just not as much fun. So my favorite Disney character has been and always will be, and I've got one right here. I've actually got 2 because I have a lot of stuffed animals around my computer. I have Pooh. See? Pooh. And Eeyore is my second favorite. So that's my favorite Disney character is definitely Pooh. And then, I mean, obviously Eeyore, but the rest are not really in any specific order. There's Eeyore. Figment, he's from Disney Parks. He's from the Imagination Ride at Epcot. And he's always been one of my absolute favorites. I have a little miniature stuffed animal of him that rides along on one of my purses because I'm ridiculous like that. And Pascal from Tangled. Yeah, so I've got a stuffed animal problem. And then Flounder from The Little Mermaid was my absolute favorite when I was little. My dad worked for a cable company, and so they would always get like, I don't know, like salesmen from like the different channels. So the Disney Channel guy knew that my dad had a daughter who really loved The Little Mermaid, and so he would always bring him a brand new Flounder stuffed animal. And I collected, I think, like 10 of them over the course of like a year when I was little, which was great for my mom because I was little and they were getting dragged everywhere. So she had like lots to rotate in and out, like, oh, this one's clean, this one's dirty, and stuff like that. So yeah, Pooh, Eeyore, Figment, Pascal, and Flounder. Yeah. Okay, so next question. Laura, aka Ginny Greatwin, asked, what is your favorite color and what's your favorite ice cream flavor? My favorite color sort of goes back and forth between red and purple. Depends on the mood I'm in, I guess. And my favorite ice cream flavor is cookies and cream. Which I guess that's an official ice cream flavor, you know, like vanilla with like Oreos mixed into it. That's my favorite. And the next questions come from Kate, aka It's Snowing Gosh Tacos. So there's a bunch. So until specified otherwise, these are all from Kate. First question is, what is your favorite Once Upon a Time fanfic you've written so far? I think, hands down, that would be No Escape from the Storm Inside of Me. It's the snow-centric one I wrote that sort of revolves around winter. And yeah, that one's definitely, I think, the one that I'm most proud of. I really enjoyed writing it. It took me a really long time to write, despite how short it is. And then some close runner-ups would be In the Beauty of the Ending Day, which is the Snow and Emma fic that goes through the seasons. Like, that's a pretty close runner-up. Momentum would be my favorite snowing fic. And I have a really special place in my heart for Harbors of My Own, even though it's kind of the most random thing I've ever written. But I really liked how it turned out. Next question is, explain why you ship snowing. That's a tough one, like, to actually put into words, because I think it's because I don't know, the show really, I don't know, I thought at first the show was a little hokey. I was watching it because I was a big fan of JMO from House, and so I just decided to give it a shot. The day after the pilot aired, I pulled it up on like the ABC website, and I watched it while my husband was at work. And you know, the next week I was like, oh, it was cute, so I did the same thing, you know, the morning after I watched it. And then the same thing the third week, except for that was Snow Falls. And all of a sudden I went from being like oh, I have a break on Monday mornings and I'm bored, so I'm gonna watch the show, to like full on fandom mode, like tunnel vision. And it was all because of, I mean, probably about half because of Ginny's version of Snow, and half because of Snowing. And they just have such a believable, and I mean, obviously, gosh, they have a believable marriage, which I think is really rare to see on TV. To see two characters that you can actually believe that they're married, and that they're in a happy relationship, and that's really rare to see, and especially when it's so realistic. Even though you're talking about fairy tale couples, just the little things that they that Josh and Ginny add to Snowing really make it realistic, and I think that's really unique for television these days. And also just the fact that they're always fighting to be with each other. I Personal note, when my husband and I were going to move in together before we got married, I was talking to my dad, and he was telling me that he's like, no, I think you guys can make it, the long haul. And he said, it's because you have to work so hard for your relationship. And he was like, when I married your mother, everything was convenient. When it stopped being convenient, that's when our marriage fell apart. And for you guys, you've already done the most inconvenient thing you could possibly do in your first year of dating. So, it should only really be easy from there. And I think that really stuck with me. And this was a few months before Once Upon a Time premiered. And I don't know, I think that idea and then Snowing really stuck with me together, that the reason their love is so true is because they always have to fight for it, and it's never been easy for them. And so, I mean, that was just a big old ramble, but those are like the beginnings of my feelings on Snowing, I guess. If you want to know more what I think about them, read my fic, because that's how I express myself. I don't do words. No, me and words don't get along unless I'm like typing them. Okay, next question. What is your favorite book and why? And this is really not going to be a cop-out answer. It's two books, but they're both part of the same series. The first being The Tomb of Spatuan, which is book number 2, and then the second being Tahanu, which is book number 4 of the Earthsea series by Ursula Le Guin. And I always really liked fantasy when I was growing up. My dad always read me sci-fi books, and there's not that many women in them. But Ursula Le Guin's a feminist, and her female characters are really awesome, especially considering she puts them in this world that is super sexist. And I sort of like the dichotomy between that these really strong female characters can still be something great in this world that's totally against them. And that really stuck with me when I was younger, and I think it's why I'm very much on that. I don't know. That it doesn't matter that the world is completely against them. They're still really badass, and they're really badass no matter what they're doing. Like in The Tombs of Spatuan, Tanara is, the one priestess. She's freaking badass motherfucker. And in Tahanu, she's a widowed farmer's wife. She's a spinner. She adopts an orphan, disabled girl, and you never think anything less of her from having been, the one priestess to being, this widow. And that really stuck with me. And because these books, I read The Tomb of Spatuan when I was 10, and I read Tahanu when I was 15. And so the series really grows with you. And like the further you go along in the books, the more mature they are. And I think that really, I don't know, that stuck with me so much that those are just like my go-to. That's my favorite book. So the Earthsea series, but in particular books 2 and 4, Tombs of Spatuan, Tahanu. What's your favorite fandom you've been in? I've been in a lot of fandoms. I'm gonna say my favorite fandom is the first one I was officially in, which is the Phantom of the Opera fandom. Back before there was the movie or anything else, back before the 25th anniversary concert, when I hadn't seen it, when I was going off of having read, the original novel, I had my libretto, and I had, the soundtrack, and that was, all anyone really had to go on. And yeah, that was my favorite. That was my favorite fandom. I think just because of the people that I met. I mean, namely Christine. I mean, if I had to choose a fandom, if I could only choose to have ever been in one fandom, it would be the Phantom of the Opera fandom because I cannot imagine a world where Christine and I aren't friends. So, yeah, Phantom. Next question. Have you ever been to Texas? I have. I don't remember it. I remember parts of it. I was 3, and I think we were in San Antonio. I remember there were armadillos, and I got one of those like little ringlet things with like sparklies and ribbons on it for my hair. And I had a pretty dress. That's all I remember. Armadillo's pretty dress. Animals and sparkly things. I mean, those are my priorities. Um, Next question is, did you or did you not like the finale? Unpopular opinion, maybe? Popular opinion? I'm not sure. I love the finale. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the fact that they changed Snowfalls, because Snowfalls will forever and always be my favorite episode of anything ever. But I really liked the finale because I really like getting to see Emma finding home and finding that in her parents. And also, I guess, side note from that, I didn't ship Captain Swan before that. I do now. And I think it was really because I finally got to see an Emma ship not in the context of a love triangle for the first time since Graham. And so it was really nice to see her opening up to someone new that wasn't her parents and it not being a who's she gonna pick sort of thing. So I like that. But I mean, main thing I loved about the finale was that was really just getting to see Emma realizing how much she loves her parents. And because, I mean, the Emma and Snow dynamic is clearly my favorite dynamic on the entire show. I write enough about it. And, I mean, I was crying through that finale. And obviously Frozen at the end. I mean, I was already emotional and that happened and I was full on crying. I was on Skype with my husband afterwards and he was laughing at me so hard. Oh my gosh. It was bad. Anyways, next question. Husband, sorry. What is your favorite fairy tale? And if it's been on once, did you or did you not like the character Adam and Eddie wrote for it? Okay, well, growing up, most of my fairy tale knowledge was from Disney. So it's going to be my favorite Disney princess at the time, which was Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And probably really unpopular opinion, I'm not a huge fan of Rembelle. I don't hate it. It doesn't, sparks didn't fly for me. I actually, though, really, really like the friendship between Belle and Red. I feel like that was, I don't know, a better Beauty and the Beast story told within like one episode that wasn't even supposed to tell it than Rembelle was. Not that Rembelle is bad. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers there. I'm just saying that from the way I always interpreted the Beauty and the Beast story when I was little, the friendship between Belle and Red was a lot closer to that. So I did enjoy that. I really wish they would give Belle better storylines. So I'm always sort of hit or miss with her. I'm either like, Belle, get out of this episode, or I'm like, yeah, Belle. So I don't know. I didn't dislike it. I just have complicated feelings for it. My current favorite fairy tale, though, is the Russian fairy tale, The Snow Maiden. Not to be confused with the story of the Snow Child, even though the reason that I fell in love with the story is because I read a book called The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey. Highly recommend it. Yeah. Next question is, what's your favorite movie? And right now that's either Frozen or Tangled. I can't think of a better answer to that. It sort of changes daily, either Frozen or Tangled. Okay, next questions are from Valentina, Bandit Snow. And the first question is, First, Once Upon a Time character you fell in love with and why? And I don't know. Snow is the obvious answer, but I'm gonna be honest. The reason I started watching the show was because of JMO. So, um, I almost want to say Emma, but I truly fell in love with Snow first, just because she's such a badass and she's so different from how you think of Snow White. From like the Disney movie and just from pretty much most iterations of Snow White. It's very unique, and I just love her sass and everything. And I think about halfway through the net scene, I was just like, sold! New favorite character ever. And the other question is top 5 anything. And I wasn't sure what to do for this because I was copy and pasting all the questions into a Word document so I could actually read through them easier. And Allison helped me fill this in. She said top 5 desserts. So my top would be milkshakes. I really love milkshakes, especially from like Cold Stone. And I've come up with some pretty interesting combinations of ice cream and mix-ins for milkshakes. But then the rest, in no particular order, are cheesecake, brownies, fried ice cream, and cannolis. I'm always up for a good cannoli. Like a normal one, though, not a chocolate cannoli. For some reason, I don't like chocolate cannolis. I really like chocolate, but only in certain things. And the last questions are all from Allison. And the first one is, do you like ladders? Ha! Funny. Yes, I still like ladders. For the record. Moving on. Next question. What would you name the autobiography of your life? This is actually kind of funny because when I was in high school, we had to do community service, and I don't know if they still make everyone do that. And I volunteered at the local library, and what they would have me do for the most part is sitting in the back room, like scratching out barcodes and stamping withdrawn in books. And I like to let my mind wander. And I think at some point in like the 100 hours I had to do, I decided that if I ever wrote an autobiography, I would call it Withdrawn. So it's kind of already decided. There's no reason why. If you could learn to do anything, what would it be? Right now, I would learn how to program in C++ because that's a requirement for my graduate program I'm starting in September. And they didn't require you to take a class in it, so when they accepted me, they didn't know that I'm not fluent in C++. So sometime this summer, I'm giving myself a crash course in it. So if I could learn to do anything right now, it would certainly be to program in C++. Next question is, what story does your family always tell about you? My mom likes to tell this story where when I was really little, I don't know, like 2, something like that, I had problems pronouncing the TR sound. And so like, my mom would be like, look, that's a tree. And I go, ooh, a fee. Yeah. And so one day we were in like McDonald's or something, I guess, with my very, very conservative grandparents. And a delivery truck pulled up outside. And I turned to the window and I pointed and I shouted at the top of my lungs, look, mommy, a big fuck. And the entire restaurant burst out laughing. And that's the story my mom loves to tell. Next question is, are you a good cook? I'm good at baking, but I'm not good at cooking. Ask me to bake a cake, brownies, cookies, bread, whatever. Cooking, leave me at spaghetti. The next question is, what is an exotic pet you'd like to have other than a red panda? That's not really fair, because red panda would be my first answer. Does a polar bear count? If you want something a little smaller that I could actually keep as a pet, I'd say a naked mole rat. I don't know why. Their ugly faces are just so adorable to me. And she asked, best song to jam out to? I love ripping down the highway to Some Nights by Fun, just singing it at the top of my lungs. That's one of my favorite things to do. Any hidden talents? I can juggle. And I used to be a ballerina, but mostly I can juggle. That's my stupid human trick. And then the last question is, have you ever taken a bad school photo? Personally, I think they're all bad, but none are particularly horrible, like in a hilarious way or anything. So I guess I have to say no. And that's it. I mean, I know that's it because I copied these all into a document so I wouldn't forget about any. So I hope this was entertaining. I'm sorry it's really long. I ramble a lot. Sorry about that. If you made it this far, kudos to you. Thanks for following me and thanks for watching. I feel like a newscaster or something. Anyways, I guess I will talk to all of you later. Feel free to drop by my ask box anytime. Okay? Bye.